if you like the movie Cloverfield, if you're expecting some sort of giant monster movie and some sort of Blair Witch Project style camera work, and you come into 10 Cloverfield Lane looking for that, it's not happening. 10 Cloverfield Lane is interesting in that it has the Cloverfield title, it has the same superior level of marketing where people are going to see that movie not knowing very little of what it's about, and kind of just get put on this ride the same way that Cloverfield was. And I going into this movie kind of compared it to the Cornetto trilogy, the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Edgar Wright trilogy of Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and World's End, where it's 3 movies that are connected, whether it be people involved with it or just kind of their spoofing of popular things, but their connections kind of end after that. And that's how I feel this movie is. It's Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane have very little in common. They both have Slusho references. They both have they both have similar people involved, and they both have a great viral marketing campaign. But that's it. And it's really it's interesting. Cloverfield was really more of a modern American take on your giant monster kaiju kind of movie, and 10 Cloverfield Lane is something entirely different. It's much but it's super good. And I need to stress that it is good. It is a good movie. But it's just, you don't know what to expect the entire time. It follows around Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character of Michelle as she kind of gets stuck in this bunker, and she's not allowed to go outside, and she's stuck with 2 guys, Emmett and Howard. Howard is played by this guy that I'm going to put on screen.
Do you see what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
Oh, Howard's played by John Goodman. Got away from me for a minute there. And basically it's them all living in a house in a bunker, kind of, you're left not really knowing what's going on out in the world, the same way that she doesn't know what's going on in the world. And all you get to understand that of what's going on outside for a good portion of the movie is really just hearsay from the people that brought her into the bunker. And you're given more and more reason to believe that they are not as reliable, especially John Goodman's character. And John Goodman's character is amazing in that one minute he's this super likable, super lovable dude that's kind of got his awkward eccentricities, and then the next minute he's frightening, and you're like, all right, this guy's a serial killer. And then you're like, you know what, he's not so bad. He seems really capable. He helped save your life. And then it's just like, nah, he's fucking crazy. And he walks that line where you don't know if you, along with Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, is trapped in this bunker or if you're being saved. And that, not knowing what's going on along with the character, is super powerful, and it drives a good portion of the movie. And that's, a lot of that is on John Goodman, a lot of that is on just the pacing of the movie. This movie it does what all good movies should do, and we don't get nearly enough these days, and that is following the whole rule of show don't tell. The first 5 minutes of the movie, you hear no words at all. It's Mary Elizabeth Winstead going through her day and doing some things, and it's just music in the background, and you have you understand everything that's happening just by what's visually shown. You know, you shows her grabbing a bottle of booze, and you're like, oh, she's having a rough time. It shows her leaving, packing a bag, and you're like, oh, she's packing a bag. She's moving out somewhere. It shows her leaving keys and an engagement ring on a table, and you're like, oh shit, she's breaking off with someone. And they follow that kind of path throughout the movie, where eventually people start talking, but they use the words very sparingly. They don't shove anything down anyone's throat. They don't go and explain too much. They explain just the right amount for you to understand what's happening, but they leave you guessing, the same way the first Cloverfield did, in a way, where they give you just the right amount of information to have an understanding and to make it so by the end of the movie you feel relatively fulfilled, but they still leave you not knowing everything, the same way the characters don't know everything. And you're kind of just like, but it still leaves you with enough that you're satisfied. And that's talented. And it's just, oh my god, it's so good. And they have barely any music in it, and anytime there is music, you know where it's coming from. Otherwise, you have John Goodman, like, you hear him breathing constantly, and you're like, all right, you know, it adds to creepiness, like the fact that you kind of can't get away from anything. Anytime one character's on screen, you kind of can hear where the other ones are in the house. Brilliant use of sound, and it really leaves you very uncomfortable, including, like, you're already uncomfortable just because of how the characters are and their interactions with each other and the whole situation, but then adding, like, this uncomfortable, like, silence with, like, you know, it's just, oh my god. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, I just love saying her name, I'm sorry, she's adorable, she's Ramona, I love her. Her character is the most resourceful, like, brilliant thing ever. She's just, any situation, she's immediately paranoid about it, every situation, and she immediately comes up with, like, every MacGyvered way to, like, get out of it and fix this situation as possible. She's like, oh, I have just the thing. And it works super well because this movie, every item that's useful in the entire movie, any single thing that might be important, they establish early on, and then they come back to it later on. Any little item that's like, oh, I'm putting this on screen, and then they focus on it like 20 minutes in, an hour into the movie, that's important. And they're going to bring it out, and they'll be like, look at what I did with this item you saw forever ago. And it's great. I guess it would be foreshadowing. It's not really foreshadowing, but it's great, like, it feels good. When you pay attention, you're like, oh, that's that hook from that time. And then they go and do things with it. That's not the right motion for me to be doing. She does not like, she doesn't, like, cut people with a hook. I mean, she does, but, and that's the movie for most of it. It's just this kind of real suspenseful, like, is this guy you're living with crazy? Is he not crazy? Is there shit going on outside? Or are you with this guy that might be a little bit of a pedophile, serial killer, stalkery psycho? Because he comes off that way. He really does. And then halfway through the movie, shit really starts hitting the fan. And it's a movie that, I'm not giving anything away too much. It has a fulfilling ending. It does not give you all the information, but it leaves you on a stance of, wow, that was badass. Wow, this was great. I want to know more. I understand I'm never going to know more. But, oh my god, this movie. And it was really good. I cannot wait for the next random Cloverfield to just pop out of nowhere. Can we that trailer came out of nowhere. No one knew this movie was happening, and then this trailer came out and you're like, what the hell? And this movie's just really good. Just go see it. Just bad things about it, there are no bad things. Mary Elizabeth Winstead's in that movie. There's nothing bad I can say about this movie. It was so good. So it's terrifying. Oh my god, I was squirming in my seat. I almost cried. Like, it freaks you out. But it's so fucking good. Such a good movie.